the chat. If you're joining from Ghana, like Nathaniel, Nigeria, Saskatchewan, London, Oxford, absolutely phenomenal. All right, we're going to have an amazing session. Arnold is joining from Cameroon. Brilliant. Lucky's in Alberta as well. Edmonton, oh, where are you, Lucky? Calgary, Alberta. Edmonton, Alberta. Where exactly? Bradford, United Kingdom. I love Bradford. Okay, I lived in Bradford for a while during my own journey as well. Okay, so let's get cracking with our session. So today we'll look at a very interesting topic, which would center around landing a job, making a career change, a career pivot, transitioning from your current career path into other career path, especially within the tech ecosystem. And for those who are 30, 40, 50 and beyond, for so many people, there is this myth that once I'm 30, 35, I'm 40, I'm too old to transition. Okay. So I'm going to be busting a whole lot of the myth and the things, the conventional things you are used to today. So if you know somebody who's been trying to land a job, they've been finding it difficult to land a job, get them into today's session. Let's have an amazing time together. Right? So before we get started, just to do a little bit of introduction, for us at 10 Analytics, we're the leading educational technology company helping professionals land high-paying jobs, irrespective of where you are. In the UK, in the US, in Canada, across Europe, Nigeria, across Africa, Asia, and so on and so forth. Just about 5 years now, will be 5 in the month of August. Over about 5 years, over 4 years, we've helped close to 3,000 people to transition from the classroom to landing their very first jobs within the tech ecosystem across different regions, especially in the areas of data analytics, data science, data engineering, cybersecurity, agile project management, HR analytics, name it. And we've seen accountants become project managers. We've helped care workers become business analysts, data scientists. We've helped logistic professionals become full stack data scientists, and so on and so forth. And I'll be sharing a whole lot of experience with you. But more importantly, for those who think I'm too old to transition, what are the key strategies you need to start deploying today to ensure you're able to break into your new career path, especially a career path that would stay relevant over the next 5 to 10 years with all the new changes coming up in the next few years? And for me, myself, I'll be driving the session today. I'll be your pilot for today. My name is Adeza Suleiman. I'm a technology expert with over a decade experience in data analytics and management consulting. My first degree was in industrial chemistry, nothing related to tech, nothing related to computer science. I founded Tenalytics and co-founded Amdari, two platforms helping people like me to also make the transition into the tech ecosystem. And over the last 4 years, we've helped over 2,855 and more people to make that pivot. All right. I've worked as a data science consultant in Canada. I've lived and worked in the UK. I live and work in Canada. And I've also worked as a data science consultant in the US as well. I've worked for one of the largest energy conglomerates in sub-Saharan Africa as a data analyst. And I've also worked with FITC, in the financial services sector. FITC is a professional services firm owned by the Central Bank of Nigeria and also the Bankers Committee. My experience spans across multiple sectors, from financial services to energy to educational technology to automobile. And I'll be sharing how this is even possible. How do you transcend sectors? How do you transcend industries with the skills that you have? All right. So we're going to dive into that today. And again, if you know somebody that should be here trying to land a job, they'll be finding it difficult, get them into this session. All right. One of the first things I want you to understand, to take away from today's session, is age isn't a barrier for you. For so many people, they think age is a barrier, but it's not. In a whole lot of countries, nobody would discriminate against you because of your age. especially when you know your stuff. All right. So what usually would impede your success is a lack of direction. You don't know where you're going. You don't know the career path to pivot into. You don't know your strength. You don't know what you should double down on. And you don't even know your transferable skills from where you're coming from. You have no strategy to landing that job. And more importantly, you don't have the right support. So age is not a barrier for you. Usually a lack of direction, a lack of strategy, and a lack of support is what would stop you from landing that job. And I'll share a couple of success stories. So anybody that says, I'm too old to switch careers, what I'll be doing today is we are all going to kill that lie by looking at amazing success stories. Okay, so I'm going to drive the session today, telling you, showing you some stories of amazing, amazing people who have made that transition. And in their wildest dreams, they never imagined they'll be where they are today. All right. And I'm going to start with Judith. For those of you that have joined our sessions in the past, you know who Judith is. Judith had over 10 years experience as a HR professional back in Nigeria. She moved to the UK and she also worked as a carer in the UK. So over 10 years experience. But guess what? Judith wanted more. Okay. She didn't just want to work as a carer in the UK. She couldn't get a job in HR, which was a core competence area. Her expertise lied in the HR ecosystem, but she couldn't land the job. So what did Judith do? Even though she had 10 years experience in that area, one day she went to drop her daughter in her school, and she met somebody, a friend of hers, Tolu Lokpe. Tolu Lokpe had completed one of our programs in data analytics, and Tolu Lokpe had gotten a job as a data analyst in the UK. So Judith met Tolu Lokpe in her daughter's school on that day, and she was, complaining to Tolu Lokpe, I really need to leave this job. I'm tired of being a carer. I really don't want to do this job anymore. And Tolu Lokpe said, why don't you move into tech? Why don't you transition? I learned from Tenalytics. I got a job. I think you should try them out. So Judith came to us. She joined us. She worked as a carer, like I mentioned, while she was still in the UK, had a background in HR back in Nigeria. But that was not enough for her. She wanted more. She joined our business analysis program and completed her program in March 2024. Last year, March, Judith completed her program. And 3 months after, she was able to land a job in July 2024. She landed a job as a business analyst with a company in the US. She worked remotely and she earned a lot higher than her counterparts in the UK. All right. Everybody here would know, but if you don't, the US pays a whole lot more than other regions. So if you work as a data analyst in the US, you likely earn almost times two of your counterparts working in the UK or in Europe. All right. So Judith currently works remotely as a business analyst, living in Huddersfield in the UK and working remotely for a company in the US. And this is Judith, who moved from 10 years experience in HR and working as a carer in the UK to becoming a business analyst. And of course, we had an interview, amazing interview with Judith. And I would love you to watch this interview at the end of today's session. So for you to get access to my slide, have access to the link, and get to hear what Judith had to say, make sure you fill the attendance form. All right. And you'd have access to listening to Judith. How was she able to make that transition? What exactly did she do? How was the interview process? How did tailoring her CV play a major role in her landing that job? So she said everything during that session. We might not have enough time to play Judith's video today. If we have, I'll play just a snippet of that. So you have a look, you listen to what Judith had to say. But that's Judith's story. We have Ini. Ini landed the job. Just give me 1 second. Okay. All right. So Ini landed a job after joining our full stack data science program. And guess what? Ini had over 12 years experience as an IT support professional and also with business development experience. So for people thinking that I'm too old to transition, I don't think I can land a job. This is Ini. making that transition. 12 years of experience, and Ini was able to make that pivot. Okay, just give me 1 second. I don't know why that stopped sharing. Okay, so I'm going to go back to sharing my screen. Um, uh, Fokpe, please, I'm not sure what happened exactly, but my screen just stopped sharing. So please confirm if you can still see my screen. Just give me a thumbs up or a yes. But I can just see myself. I can't see my screen anymore. If you can see my screen, anybody watching, just give me a thumbs up if you can see my screen, okay? All right, you can all see my screen. Unfortunately, I can't. I can only see myself. So just give me 1 second. I'll try to see if I can figure that out. Okay, so since you can all see my screen, I'm just going to continue, all right? Let me stop sharing and reshare. I think that's a good idea. Stop sharing and then I'll reshare again. Sometimes technology can seem to have a mind of its own. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing. Sorry, guys, I'm still with you. Just trying to figure this out. And then we get right back into our session. Ini's story is quite interesting as well. I'm sure you'd all want to listen to Ini. Okay. So for what I'm going to do is I'll just drop off. I don't know what happened. Somebody clicked on something. So I'll drop off, join back in 2 seconds, and then we'll continue.
With analytics. Yeah, hello guys, how you doing? My name is Adewale Adetayo. I am making this video just to share my experience that I had with analytics. About 5 months ago, I enrolled for a cybersecurity course with analytics. Yeah, and when I started the course, my expectations were met. They actually shared a lot of stuff, both theories and hands-on, and the instructor was fantastic, literally. So while I was still doing the course, about let's say 60 to 70% completion into the course, I was obviously applying for jobs while I was doing the course, and I got a job as a Microsoft business advisor, solving technical problems for organizations with less than 300 employees. And I could say
Okay, so we are back. I think everything is working perfectly now. Okay, so we just want to be careful. I think you must have clicked on something. So just ensure you don't do that so we don't have any disruptions. Now, let's talk about Ini very quickly. So Ini had over 12 years experience in IT support, business development, but he wanted more. And according to him, Ini, he had not gotten interviews. He struggled to land interviews. He lacked the confidence. He wasn't sure. He wasn't even applying to jobs as much as he should. But he joined our full stack data science program and he started to get interviews. And according to him, within the space of 2nd of January 2024 till February, he had the highest number of interviews in his entire career. You listen to Ini, I'm going to play his video. You listen to him and hear what Ini has to say. 12 years experience. He joined our full stack data science program. He wanted more out of his career. And eventually, he joined us in October 2023. And by February 2024, he had landed a job with Growth Stack, one of the largest ERP implementation companies in Nigeria. And he got that job in February 2024. I'm going to play Ini's video because I want you to listen to him. So we brought Ini on board. We had an interview with him. I'm going to show you his LinkedIn profile. I want you to listen to Ini. And the reason why I want you to hear from him is for those of you thinking that I'm too old to make a transition. I'm sure Ini would be an inspiration to you. Okay, so let's hear what Ini has to say. Okay, and don't forget, for you to have access to listening to all these amazing professionals, make sure you fill the attendance form and you have access to my slides, my recordings, and so on and so forth. But let's listen to Ini very quickly.
Asking Ini that same question. Ini, how did the training prepare you for your current job role? Could you walk us through the interview preparation you've got from Analytics and how it was helpful, you know?
All right. Now, let me just quickly say that an hour is not enough for me to talk about all I have gained from Analytics. Okay, one day is not enough, right? Not enough. A whole day is not enough. So I could tell you for like 1 week, 2 weeks, 1 month. Yes. So now the thing is this: for Analytics, all right, from day one, I knew that something was different about these guys. Okay, because prior my beginning the training, okay, I've done a lot of I've been 10 years in tech, all right. So I've done a lot of trainings here and there, have certificates to show for them, but I couldn't stand before I didn't know how to put them together, right? I had a lot of things scattered here and there. I didn't know how to put them together. And then all of the session that we had, besides the regular Saturday live classes, we had, of course, the Thursday mentorship sessions. We had the Wednesday, just like this, and then a whole lot. So I was able to harness this times, okay, these resources together, all right. The CV optimization session, the LinkedIn. So I took my time, okay, went into LinkedIn, revamped myself. When I looked at my CV and I said, wow, I dumped my initial CV. I picked up a new one and I started afresh, right? So before then, I tell you that I could stay for a whole year, 2 years, 3 years without attending one interview. I sent my CVs for jobs, openings. I never got a call, not even a message say, to the next stage. But in January 2024, everybody mark my word, please. Between January 2nd and 2nd of February, I have had more interviews attended than I have ever had in my entire career.
Wow.
Okay, now let me also tell you, yeah, between January 2nd and then I have all the emails in my box. Okay, so I know what I'm talking about. In 1 month, right, I've attended a lot of interviews than I've ever attended in my entire life, because I took my time, looked up my CV, looked at my LinkedIn, and I pushed it out. A lot of people started looking up to see who I was, on LinkedIn. Prior to that time, nobody wanted to connect with me on LinkedIn, right? And then I tell you that I didn't apply.
Okay, so that's Ini. It's a long session, about 1 hour. And what we do all the time is to bring people to share their experience after landing a job. And what you'd hear from Ini is simple. Prior to Ini joining the program, he never applied to jobs. He wasn't getting, connections on LinkedIn. He wasn't getting interviews. And for the jobs he applied to eventually, he wasn't getting any results. But he joined our full stack data science program, and the mentorship sessions made the magic for him. So he focused a whole lot on the mentorship, the CV revamp, and all the job support. Remember, I mentioned earlier that your age is not the restriction for you. Your age is not the limitation, but the right strategy, the right direction, and the right support is what gets you the job. So Ini is doing an amazing job at the moment working with Growth Stack, and I'm going to show you Ini's profile very quickly. So just to get to understand how Ini's transition, so that's Ini Akpabio, absolutely phenomenal gentleman. And one of the first things you'd see is you both worked at Tenalytics. I'm going to come back to highlight this particular aspect and why it's very important. Okay, so that's Ini. That was when he worked with us as a data scientist, because when you join us, you don't join us as a trainee or as a student. You join us as a consultant. And I'm going to double down and explain exactly what that means. So Ini currently works with Growth Stack as the CEO. All right. And the moment he landed that job, he sent a very long message in the WhatsApp group. All programs have dedicated WhatsApp groups. And one of the instructive comments Ini made was, I want to thank Tenalytics for bringing out the ginger in me. Okay. The mentorship sessions showed him, and that was one of the first things we do to show you that you can apply to this job. You have what it takes. If you've not been applying before, you need to start applying to jobs. All right. So you're going to have time to read all the details. It's quite long, but this was what he posted after landing the job. I'm happy to announce that I'm now the CEO of Growth Stack. So this is Ini, who had no experience in data science, joined the data science program, and he landed a job. You have Abigail. Abigail has 13 years of experience. 13 years of experience working as an administrative executive, and also worked as a carer when she moved to Canada. So while she was in Nigeria, she worked as an admin executive with the FIRS. Okay. And she moved to Canada just like so many people did. And eventually she got a job as a carer. And a lot of people always want to transition and pivot from working as a carer and the menial jobs and so on to a career path that is more progressive, where I can work remotely and so on and so forth. She joined our business analysis program. She gained all the confidence she needed to also pivot and make the transition. And in January 2024, Abigail landed a job with the government of Alberta. She used to live in Saskatchewan. She moved from Saskatchewan. She moved to Alberta, Edmonton to be specific, and she works with the government of Alberta as a supervisor, business services, and data analytics after completing the program. Abigail's story is absolutely phenomenal. I'm also going to play Abigail's video much later during the session. But that was how Abigail was also able to transition. Extensive experience in admin, operations, worked as a carer. Today, she's a business analyst. And then you have Ikmat, who is quite young. She's quite on the younger side. Ikmat had over 5 years experience in a different career path. She was a stay-at-home mom, taking care of her kids. And she moved from a stay-at-home mom in the UK to a data analyst with the NHS on full visa sponsorship. All right. So Ikmat was a stay-at-home mom. She stayed at home for over 2 years, taking care of her kids. She wanted a whole lot more, moving into the job market. She joined our data analytics program and she wanted sponsorship. She didn't want just any type of job in the UK. She wanted sponsorship. So she joined our data analytics program. We worked with her, prepared her for our interviews, showed her how to apply, where to apply. And today, in January 2024, last year, Ikmat landed a job as an information analyst with the NHS on sponsorship, full visa sponsorship. And I'm going to show you Ikmat's profile as well very quickly. And one thing you'd see that is common between Ini, Ikmat, and every other professional is you both worked at Tenalytics. Now, the reason why this is important is simply because of positioning to your prospective employer. How do you want to be represented? How do you want to position yourself so you are seen as the right person for the job? All right. And like I mentioned, I'm going to double down on that. So ICMAT's data analyst with Tenalytics, and of course, that led to her getting this job as an information analyst with the Sussex Community NHS Foundation Trust after completing her data analytics program with us. So these are just a few success stories from Judith, who had over 10 years experience in HR. Today, she's a business analyst working remotely from the UK for a company in the US. You have Ini, who was not confident to apply to jobs, who was not getting any, nobody was noticing his profile on LinkedIn. He made a few tweaks, a few changes, joined the data science program. And today, with over 13 years experience in IT support, business development, today he's a CEO. We worked with him, prepared him for his interviews, his mentorship, and so on and so forth. You have someone like Ikmat, a stay-at-home mom, had not worked for over 2 years, had a major employment gap. And today, she's an information analyst with the NHS. All right. So the career path you choose is absolutely important. Judith chose business analysis. Ini chose the full stack data science program. ICMAT chose data analytics. The career path you choose determines if you land a job or not. So you have to get crystal clear on the job roles that will get you the type of jobs where you have the luxury of working from home, earning fantastic salary, and more importantly, you stay relevant in the job market over the next 5 to 10 years, even with all the changes, AI and so on, new technologies. You know that you can rest assured that your career path would stay relevant. And how do you know the career path to choose and focus on? So what we do for us at Tenalytics, every single year, we carry out something called a job analysis. So we look at jobs from the major economies, the major job boards, from LinkedIn to Glassdoor to CV Library, ZipRecruiter, and so on and so forth. And we identify the career path with the highest frequency. Which career path are employers hiring for? Which roles are companies recruiting for? So we look for those roles and we don't just stop there. All right. So we see the jobs, we see the career path that are in high demand. But more importantly, because the career path is in high demand, does not mean I must jump in, because it might be a whole lot difficult to get into that career path. For example, blockchain engineering is a fantastic career path. Okay. But it will take you roughly 18 months to 2 years to learn blockchain engineering and get so good at it to land a job. Okay, so we looked at the career path where they were high in demand, but also relatively easy to get into. All right, so we did that analysis, we kept it aside, and we looked for reputable organizations that had carried out similar analysis. The World Economic Forum, for example. So the World Economic Forum every 2 years release a report called the Future of Jobs Report. And for any professional looking to transition and you haven't looked at these reports, then you might likely make a mistake when making the transition. So we looked at the World Economic Forum, and I'm going to show you what it looks like very quickly. The World Economic Forum Future of Jobs shows you the career path that are growing and the career path that will decline in the next 5 to 10 years. So all you have to do is click on this link. The link will be available to everyone. Make sure you fill the attendance form. Don't miss it. So you get all these materials, my slides, the recording, you have access to it. So this edition of the report was released in January this year, 2025. And the page you want to go to is page 21. Okay, if you go to page 21, you'd see the jobs that are currently high in demand and the jobs that will decline between 2025 to 2030. Okay, so what we were looking for reviewing this report was to find out the analysis we had carried out. Does it align with some analysis a reputable organization like the World Economic Forum had also carried out? And we could see clearly from the left-hand side, these are the jobs that are high in demand and the jobs that will grow in the next 5 to 10 years. And number one on the list, I'm just going to maximize this so it's a lot clearer to those of you perhaps watching from a smaller screen. You'd see the big data specialist. You'd see the AI machine learning specialist. Anybody in machine learning is a data scientist. You'd see the data warehousing specialist. These are data engineers. All right. You'd see the data analyst, the data scientist, just like we had also seen in our analysis. You'd see the information security analyst. These are your cybersecurity professionals, anybody responsible for protecting the data, the network, the systems of any organization. You fall under information security. All right. You'd see the data engineers, spelt out clearly, the digital transformation specialist, the process automation specialist. These are the business analysts. The business analyst in organizations ensures that processes are optimized. If something that takes 5 days or 5 weeks, a process that takes 5 days, a business analyst would find out how can we reduce this process from 5 days to 5 minutes. And when you do that, you'd have to automate some of those processes. So the business analyst would give the recommendations after analyzing the processes, give the recommendations for automation, and lead the project to ensure that that automation is implemented. These are the business analysts. You'd see where you have your organizational development specialists. These are also HR related roles. You'd see where you have your project managers, and these are your IT project managers, not your conventional, traditional project managers, but IT project managers, the agile project managers, the database architects. These are also data engineers, the business intelligence analysts. These are also data analysts, the management and organizational analysts. These are also data analysts, business analysts, and so on and so forth. The training and development specialists. These are HR analysts. So we looked at the reports and we could clearly see the roles that are growing and the roles that are declining. And we said, okay, now that we've seen our own job analysis, we've seen the World Economic Forum Future of Jobs reports. We also carried out a regional analysis to see in the UK, the major economies, the US, Canada, what jobs, what type of jobs would give you permanent residency, would give you sponsorship if you're in the UK, for example, or would give you access to a H-1B visa if you're in the US. All right. So we looked at the eligible occupations for the skilled worker visa. We looked at the job titles with the highest H-1B acceptance rates. We looked at the different PMP programs, the provincial nominee programs in Alberta, Saskatchewan, British Columbia, Ontario, and so many others. And they all aligned. For example, if I go to the eligible occupations for the skilled worker visa, and I go to a couple of roles, so this shows you the occupations where if you have a job offer from that company that has the license to sponsor, you get a COS from that company, a certificate of sponsorship. You can apply for sponsorship. All right. So you'd see the occupation codes, is he eligible for the skilled worker visa? Yes or no. Okay. So if you go to a couple of codes, I'm going to leave them on my slide for you as well. 2135, for example, code 2135, you'd see where you have 2131, for example, your IT project managers. Okay, so if you look at the World Economic Forum, they had highlighted the project managers, the agile project managers, the IT project managers. You'd see where you have 2133, the IT business analysts. Are these roles eligible? Yes. The data engineers, the data architects, just like you would find in the World Economic Forum Future of Jobs report. If you go to the World Economic Forum, for example, let's go back there. You'd see where you have the data engineers, right? If you scroll down a little bit more, you'd find where you have the data architects, the database architects as well. So you'd see that these are the jobs that employers would be willing to sponsor you. If you have an offer, you have the skills to apply to these roles. So if you scroll all the way down, you'd see the cybersecurity professionals, governance specialists, forensic computer specialists. Are these roles eligible? Yes. If you scroll all the way down, 3544, and so on and so forth, you'd see all the same roles clearly indicated, the data analyst roles, the data scientist roles. So we had seen the jobs that would give you sponsorship, the jobs where you have accelerated pathways to permanent residency for those in Canada, the jobs that would also give you the opportunity for the H-1B. If you go to the US, the roles where you have the highest H-1B acceptance rate, for example, you'd see the software engineers, you'd see the data engineers clearly indicated, the data scientists, the project managers, the business analysts, and so on and so forth. Okay, so it became very clear. If I want to transition today, I know the career path to move into. And the reason why I'm taking my time here is because if you don't have the right direction, you'd struggle to make that transition. So when you see the success stories of Judith, of Ikmat, of Ini, and so many others I'll be sharing with you, they knew what they wanted. They had access to the right career path that are not just in demand, but are growing in demand and would always remain relevant. And we came up with 8 career paths: the business analyst, the data analyst, the data scientist, the agile project manager, the data engineer, the cybersecurity analyst, the HR analyst, and finally, last but not the least, the financial analyst. So if you choose any of these 8 career paths, you will have the opportunity to land a job faster than any other career path available. And just like Judith, who had no experience in business analysis and made that transition, you can also do the same. And that's the beauty of all these career paths. They are skill-based. Anyone can learn the skills, apply those skills, work on projects, and eventually land a job. All right. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about Judith, and then I want to know the career path you're interested in. So don't send it in now. All right. And all the links I clicked on, I couldn't click on any of the links, all the links rather, because of time. So if you want to click on those links, see the research we had carried out, see the World Economic Forum, all the provincial nomination with a career path to give you that accelerated pathway, the 8 career path I listed, then make sure you fill the form. Don't forget, so you have access. All right. So let's talk a little bit more about Judith. We know now that Judith had 10 years experience in HR, okay? But today she's a business analyst. So part of the reasons Judith was able to make this transition was very simple. And these are the things we help you with. We help you identify transferable skills to that career path you want to move into. So Judith had done HR clearly. So in terms of HR experience, she was very good. But she didn't want to go for HR analytics, which would have been the natural progression for her from a HR professional to a HR analyst. But she wanted more. She wanted the business analyst role because that was exactly what she wanted to do. So what we did for her was to look at her HR experience. And Judith, as a HR professional, would do what? You'd conduct interviews. Okay, you're going to conduct interviews for multiple candidates. And when you conduct interviews, what are you doing? You are extracting information from those candidates. And as a business analyst, that's a critical skill that you must have to perform your role as a business analyst. Your role in any organization is to optimize processes. Okay, if a process takes 5 weeks, how can we make it take just 5 days? And before you implement any project to automate a process, you'd have to sit down with your stakeholders, internal and external, have conversations, interview them, send surveys to extract and gather requirements. Okay, so because Judith had conducted interviews multiple times, she had that transferable skill, which can be found in business analysis as requirements gathering. Okay, gathering requirements through workshops, through surveys, through interviews, and so on and so forth. All right. As a HR professional, Judith also did what? She developed a lot of policies. Okay, she developed HR policies, HR procedures, HR documentation. And how does this translate to a business analyst role? As a business analyst, you would build business requirements documents. Okay, business requirements documents, BRDs. Now, because you are used to coming up with policies in HR, building a business requirement document you'd get transferable skills from that HR role into business analysis. And of course, you'd manage employee relations, which was something that Judith did. Employee relations, managing employees, and so on. Okay, employee relations. So you're managing your internal stakeholders because your employees are your internal stakeholders. And as a business analyst, you will manage both internal and external stakeholders. You'd work with the heads of units, the head of departments, your customers, your vendors, and so on and so forth. Okay, so you can translate that to what? Managing stakeholders or stakeholder management, stakeholder engagement. Okay, let's call this stakeholder management. So we helped Judith look for her area of strength, and we were able to translate that into the business analyst core functional areas. And that was something that helped Judith a whole lot. And that's what we ensure we help you do, irrespective of the career path you want to move into. As long as you have experience and you're worried that with my experience counts, is it relevant? Employers want you for that experience. Even as a customer service professional, you've gained communication skills, active listening skills. These are skills that translate into all the areas I listed, the 8 of them. And that's how you start to make that pivot. All right. So I don't want you to forget the 8 different career paths. All right. Data analytics, the data analyst career path, the business analyst, financial analyst, HR analyst, data engineer, the data scientist, the cybersecurity professional, and last but not the least, the agile project manager. All right. So we're going to do a very quick exercise. Which career path are you interested in? For those of you that are sure of what you want to do, type it into the chat. If you're interested to become a data analyst, if you're interested in data science, data engineering, just type that into the chat. Rosemary says financial analyst. Fantastic. Cybersecurity from Arnold. Project management, business analyst. Okay. Aha, somebody's saying I'm confused. I am confused. It's totally fine to be confused. Okay. So what I'm going to do for you is I'll share a link into the chat. So do a very quick 3 minutes exercise. And because having the right direction is very important, this link would give you access to a quiz. You fill and answer questions, you click on it, click on that, and it tells you and recommends the career path that would be suitable for you. Okay. Now, one person can have multiple career paths. For example, I worked as a data analyst. I worked as a data scientist. I worked as a management information systems analyst. I worked as a business data analyst and so on and so forth. Okay. And the reason why I performed exceptionally well in all those career paths was simply because I liked and I loved working with data, analyzing data, extracting insights and information from that data and presenting it the same way I presented, a couple of things to you today, the World Economic Forum. I love doing that. Okay, so I function in all those roles because those are career paths where you work with data, showcase what you have found, and help the business to take decisions based on your analysis. So I'm going to click on this link. I'm going to give you access. I'll drop it in the chat. You can also click on that. And I want you to 3 minutes, okay? And you identify the career path you're interested in. So if you're not sure what career path suits your personality, it's a 3 minute quiz. I'm going to share that in the chat. Just click on it. Let me copy this and drop in the chat, okay? So a lot of you have said, I'm interested in this, interested in that. So write that career path you're interested in, like a Jodamen. Okay, Ejodamen, I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Type business analyst somewhere on your notepad. Fill this quiz and see what it recommends to you. Out of all the 8 career paths, which one would you recommend? All right. And like I said, you could function in multiples. So you might want to become a business analyst, and you can also work as a data analyst as well. All right. So I'm going to drop that in the chat. Just click on it. Okay. So I just dropped it. I'll drop it multiple times just in case you miss it. Okay. Multiple times just in case you miss it. So just click on that link. It takes you to the quiz. Once you've completed the quiz, type into the chat. I want to see what you got. Okay. Type into the chat and I want to see what you got. Right. I'm okay. So Elijah, my colleague, is also dropping. So as you ask questions, my colleagues in the chat would respond to those questions. All right. So Samsung says completed. Beautiful. So as soon as you complete, just type into the chat. Let me know what you got. So Samsung SM A326B. What did the quiz recommend to you? So it's a 5 minutes task. A 5-minute quiz at the maximum. Just type into the chat when you get your results and let's see what you have. So once you are done with that, I'll then show you how do you learn these skills and how do you position yourself, because the technical skills alone are not enough to land you the job. Okay, you need a whole lot more than the technical skills. So for the people who have succeeded, who have thrived, who have gotten jobs, how did they do it? Okay, I'll show you the pathway to landing the job and would have an amazing conversation. All right. See, Ebube, all you have to do is click on that link, take the quiz, and drop your response in the chat. What did you get? Tell us the career path that was recommended to you. Okay, I'm waiting for the first one, the first person to drop theirs. And again, remember, like I mentioned, you could get a data analyst recommendation, but you can also function as a data scientist, for example. So it gives you an understanding, a direction of what you should follow, where you should consider, and then we now help you to selecting the right career path. Okay, so that's the first thing you must do. The first thing you must do is have the right direction. Okay, just have the right direction. Once you have the direction, everything else comes afterwards. Okay, so fill the form. I'm just going to continue. When you get your results, type it into the chat. Let me see what you got. Okay, so when you've selected the career path you're interested in, that's the most important step, the first step. Then you have to learn the skills. 8 career paths that are progressive, 8 career paths where you you have a recommendation, looking at your transferable skills, looking at what you can thrive in doing, and of course, you eliminate all the other alternatives. So if you've chosen data analytics, for example, eliminate everything else. Forget the fact that, oh, my friend got a job as a business analyst, so I must also become a business analyst. Okay. Choose the right career path, the career path you're interested in, and eventually you focus on that, and it doesn't matter what anybody else has to say. That's the most important thing for you. All right. So I want you to take the quiz, drop what particular career path has been recommended for you. Okay, Debbie says data analytics. Adeni says the strategist, business analysis, absolutely phenomenal. Okay, absolutely phenomenal. All right. It says book a free call. Yes. So for some of you, there's no recommendation based on your inputs. So we need more information. All right. So when you book a free call, an expert would work with you, ask you specific questions, and eventually we help you choose the right career path. Okay. Gaius got agile project management. Benga got cybersecurity. Sylvester financial analyst, fantastic. Okay. Settling got cybersecurity, but I think I prefer either business analysis or data analytics. Exactly, settling. And that was what I mentioned earlier. So you could get a particular recommendation, but your interest is in something else. And that works perfectly. I worked as a business data analyst. I worked as a data analyst. I worked as a management information systems analyst. I worked as a data scientist. I worked as a management consultant all through my career. All right. So you could function in multiple areas, but what this does for you is to give you a direction. Okay. So absolutely phenomenal. So you've started seeing the career path that suits you. And that's the first thing you must do. Learn one of the in-demand careers. Okay. So write that somewhere, choose it, and just ensure that you keep that aside. But that's not what lands you the job. This gives you the skill, which is a given, the technical skills, which every employer would want you to have the technical skills. Okay. So you learn the technical skills in any of these areas, and you move to one of the most important aspects I'll be sharing with you today, which is the packaging aspect. How do you package yourself? And packaging is all about presenting, positioning yourself as the best candidate for the job. Okay? Because having the skills, knowing how to use Excel, Power BI, Tableau as a data analyst, or knowing how to use tools like Jira, Trello, Draw.io, Visio as a business analyst does not get you the job. What gets you the job is having the right CV. Do you have a CV that is keyword optimized? Do you have a CV that gets you into the interview that is ATS compliant? If you don't have the right CV, you would struggle to land the job. Do you have the right LinkedIn profile that attracts the biggest and the best organizations? Ini, for example, was not applying to jobs on LinkedIn, but the moment he completed his LinkedIn optimization, he started to get noticed. He got messages, he got calls for interviews, and eventually he landed that job. So you must have the right LinkedIn profile that attracts the biggest and the best organizations for you to get into the room. And more importantly, you must have a portfolio. I'm going to speak about the portfolio and why it's important. So a lot of people they think they've learned, they've watched videos here and there, and they want to land a job as a data analyst with no portfolio. You'd struggle, you'd stay for a very long time applying to jobs, getting rejections until you have a portfolio. And I'll show you what a portfolio looks like and why it's important for you to have one. All right. Then mentorship, having the right people walking you through the right support, telling you what to do, what not to do, the mistakes they have made and the mistakes you shouldn't make. Okay. So working with somebody like me, for example, over a decade in the tech ecosystem as a data analyst, data scientist, and so on and so forth. There are so many things I would advise you to do that would make the difference. And you want to work with people that have been in that same system, on that same job, worked in the regions where you want to land a job. And that's where you get access to the right strategies, the right steps to take, and that shortens your transition time eventually. How do you prepare for interviews? Are you the type that goes on YouTube and try to figure it out? Or are you the type that have access to professionals who can prepare you, hold mock interview sessions, ask you questions, look at the job requirements, and based on that, ask you questions and identify the areas where you have gaps? All right. And these are the things we do for you. When you land that job, do you have a reputable organization to provide a reference? Okay. So when somebody like ICMAT, for example, landed a job with the NHS, they wanted to confirm, oh, you say you can use Excel. You say you can use this tool. You've used it here before. Show me. I want a reference from a reputable organization that can vouch for the skills that you have. Where have you utilized and used these skills? And that's one of the reasons why when you join us as a consultant or a contractor. So we provide you with a reference, and that shows that it's not just that you can do the job, but you've done it before, you've done it somewhere, and you can do it for them. And that's all about positioning yourself. And of course, when you land that job and eventually you get on a project that seems a bit more difficult than you anticipated, you have 10 analytics to run back to walk you through how to work and complete that particular project. And that's why packaging gives you the employability skills. Okay, employability skills. You can't have one and not have the other. You can't have the technical skills, learning all these different career paths, and you don't have the employability skills to land you the job. Okay, the job market is very competitive. So how do you stand out? How do you have the CV to get you into the room? How do you answer interview questions as simple as introduce yourself? There are different techniques, different frameworks to leverage. One major framework for introducing yourself is called the seat approach. Okay, for so many people, they don't know how to introduce themselves. All right, and I've seen this so many times because I've mentored thousands and thousands of people. Introduce yourself. Can I get to meet you? Okay, walk us through your experience. These are questions you would always get. It's 100% certain that in any interview, you get asked the question, tell me about yourself. Can we get to meet you? Can you introduce yourself? And some people would start by saying, my name is Adeza Suleiman. I come from Lagos State in Nigeria, or from Kogi State in Nigeria. I'm the first son of my family. And they start saying things that are so irrelevant to landing the job. But in explaining and introducing yourself, you start with your skills. What skills do you have? My name is Adeza Suleiman. I'm skilled in the use of Excel, Power BI, SQL, and Tableau. Okay. Experience. Where have you worked before? I have over a decade experience working across 5 different sectors, from the energy sector to educational technology to financial services, and so on and so forth. Talk about your achievements. What have you achieved? And for us at 10 Analytics, we always advise have at least 2 major achievements. So while I worked in the energy sector, one of the things I did was I built a data warehouse to ensure that we had a single source of truth. And this increased our reporting time by over 90%. You can talk about another achievement, and then you talk about your traits or your type of person. Who are you as an individual? Okay, and this is where you go to look for the core values of that organization. What are their core values? So if their core values are professionalism, punctuality, teamwork, you want to tailor your traits to the core values of that organization. Okay, one of my core principles is to ensure I am always punctual. I love leading from the front, but at the same time, I work with my team members to ensure that we deliver on the task we are responsible for. I'm a team player and I love to solve problems. That could be your traits and who you are. So introducing yourself alone follows a particular type of framework. And if you don't practice these things, you don't jump into an interview prep session and so on and so forth, you won't know what to do. All right. And that's where our participants are so successful in landing jobs. And finally, applying to jobs. A lot of people apply like machines without precision. Okay. So they take one CV and they throw it all over the place, apply to 100 jobs, and they don't get results. But you don't just want to put in volume. You want to put in volume that comes with what? Quality. So quality volume. So what we show you how to do is you never use a CV to apply to multiple jobs. You use one CV to apply to one job by doing what? By tailoring your CV to every application. So we show you how to do this. At the very first instance, we work on your CV. We revamp your CV for you. So you have the industry standard CV with the right keywords, properly optimized. And then we show you how to tailor that CV when applying to jobs going forward. You know that for me to land an offer, I need to have applied to 267 quality applications. So you start to understand and appreciate the number of jobs you have to apply to. My daily job applications, weekly, monthly, how many jobs do I need to apply to? All right. And eventually, what you must also have access to is the hidden job markets and the paid job boards. So if you're applying to get a sponsored job, visa sponsorship, you're applying to get a remote job, and you're only applying on CV Library, only applying on read.co.uk, on ZipRecruiter, on LinkedIn, the same platforms everybody else is applying on, you'd struggle to land a job. Okay, you get the same results everybody else gets, nothing different. So what we do and advise at Analytics is we pay to these job boards, and we have exclusive access to jobs that are not public. One of them, for example, is the UK visa jobs. This is a platform where you have access to only jobs that come with sponsorship. So we pay to these platforms, we have access to the jobs, and then we scrape those jobs every week. We vet the jobs to be sure that these are the jobs you can apply to and get opportunities. And then we send them to you every single week. And I'll show you what it looks like before we leave here today. So getting the job goes beyond just watching videos on YouTube, like so many people, would do, and then they struggle and wonder why they're not getting that opportunity. You must learn the technical skills, employability skill, position, package yourself for the role, and eventually know how to apply and where to apply. All right. So when you look at someone like Judith, we've heard about Judith's story so many times. She followed that same approach. She learned, joined the business analysis program, okay, packaged herself, tailored her CV, joined the mentorship sessions. She got numerous interview preps before she landed this job in July last year. She had a first level interview, second level interview, third level, and the fourth level interview. And when it came to the job referencing, we also provided a reference for Judith. Okay, so in getting access, she also got access to the job board, applying to these jobs, remote jobs, and so on and so forth. So that's Judith moving from a carer with HR experience to becoming a business analyst. And this is Whistling. Whistling had over 20 years experience in customer service in the UK as well. Today, Whistling is a sales operations analyst in the UK. I worked with Whistling personally. Whistling had over 20 years experience, wanted to transition. And for so many people, they'll believe that I'm too old to make this pivot or to transition at this point. But Whistling wanted more. She wasn't happy with her job, working in customer service and so on and so forth. So she joined our data analytics program. Okay, she completed her program in February 2023, and in May, just 3 months after she completed her program, she landed a job as a sales operations analyst with Shell in the UK. And I'm going to show you with Whistling's LinkedIn page. And this is Whistling when she landed the job, because I worked with her personally on this particular interview prep. And after one of our interview prep, she sent me this message. We had a conversation on WhatsApp. Okay, so I sent her some materials, watch and practice the 2 videos I had sent to her. I sent her another document I had prepared based on the feedback I got from her where we had our mock interview session. I prepared a document, sent it to her, and she's saying, thank you very much for this. Eventually, I told her all the best. Let me know how it goes. And she sent me this message. Hi, Adeza. Just to update you on the outcome of the interview. I'm pleased to let you know that I have been offered the position at Shell. I wanted to say thank you so much for everything. It's amazing to have found a position 4 months after completing the course and the internship. And this is me saying, wow, congratulations, Whistling. Okay, so Whistling is still thriving on that same role. We're just going to look at Whistling's profile very quickly. I always struggle to pronounce her surname, so I'm just going to leave it. That's why I just call her Whistling. Okay, so this is Whistling's profile. Again, one of the things you'll see here is you both worked at Analytics. All right, and that's Whistling. Customer service, if you scroll through her experience, it's been customer service, business development, and so on. Over 20 years experience. She joined us in our data analytics program, and today she works with Shell in the UK as a sales operations rep. Absolutely phenomenal. And if you look at what she does, her job role, she reviews and analyzes large and complex data sets to identify gaps and issues, ensuring data quality and integrity for pricing. And this is what Whistling does. And she does this with Excel. She does this with Power BI, with SQL, all the skills she learned as a data analyst with us. Okay, we've seen ICMAT. We know about ICMAT story. She followed the same approach. Learn, package, apply. Moved from a stay-at-home mom to a data analyst with the NHS on sponsorship. You have Pavel. Pavel was a teacher in Cameroon. Somebody joined us here today from Cameroon. Pavel used to live in Cameroon. He used to teach. He was a mathematics teacher in Cameroon. I think a mathematics, physics teacher or something around the sciences. So he taught, had over 14 years experience teaching in Cameroon. Today, Pavel moved from being a teacher in Cameroon to a data analyst in the US. He currently works as a healthcare data analyst. And I'm going to show you how a teacher can become a healthcare data analyst, not just any analyst, not just any data analyst, a healthcare data analyst. And he currently works with Arizona, the, the Arizona community physicians in Tucson, Arizona in the US. So he joined us, completed his program in December 2024. He worked on his CV, did all the things, joined all the mentorship sessions, applied to jobs, built a strong portfolio, tailored every application. And in March this year, 2025, he landed his job as a healthcare data analyst. Let's see Pavel's profile very quickly. And then I'll show you when we leave here, how do you position yourself, just like Pavel did and all the other amazing people? Again, you both worked at Tenalytics. You'd see that there clearly. All right. And this is Pavel, data analyst with Tenalytics. And today he's a data analyst with the Arizona Community Physicians as a healthcare and reporting analyst. Okay. So how does a teacher move from education to healthcare data analyst? I'm going to show you how to do that and how Pavel was able to do that. This is Ramat. Ramat was a customer service professional. Today, Ramat is a business architect, also with the NHS on full visa sponsorship after completing the business analysis program. Okay, so you see all these amazing professionals and you're asking yourself, can I do it? What you need to tell yourself is, if they can do it, then I can do it as well, with the right guidance, with the right support. Okay, so if they can do it, you can do it as well. And I'm going to show you how, practically, step by step. How did they move from customer service to business architect, from a teacher to a healthcare data analyst, and so on and so forth? Okay, and that's how Tenalytics helps you succeed. We help you succeed by focusing on what the employers want. And what does the employer want from you? Two key things. They want you to have the technical skills. That's number one. So one of the first things we do is ensure you gain the technical skills in a different way you have been learning. Some of you learn the wrong way. I've done it myself when I was also transitioning about 12 years ago. All right. I watched a lot of YouTubes. I did a lot of Udemy's. I did a lot of Coursera, but it got me nowhere. Okay. And that's simply because you can't be moving from a teacher to a data analyst role and you want to figure things out yourself. It doesn't work that way. If it were that easy, everybody would be data analysts. Okay. So what we always advise is you must have a blend of the two. You must have the self-paced, where you have the opportunity to learn, join a session at your own convenience on a Sunday, on a Monday, Tuesday, any day, anytime. You can log into the platform, watch your videos, practice on your own. And you must also have access to a live instructor-led class. where you have the opportunity, for like somebody like me working with you, helping you address problems. We work on projects together. And that's what we call the blended learning approach. Okay. And I'm going to show you how this looks like. All right. So one of the first things you do when you join us at Tenalytics is to have access to your own unique dashboard. And on your dashboard, you have the program you've registered for. So let's take, for example, you've registered for data analytics. You have access to your data analytics program. All you have to do is click on continue learning. It takes you into your class and you can watch any of the classes. Okay, so let's take, for example, I have just started. I want to know Excel operations. I want to learn Excel shortcuts as a data analyst, or I want to learn how to hide and unhide columns or group and ungroup data. I come in here, I click on it. Maybe it's a Sunday afternoon. I have time. I watch my videos. Okay, I watch my videos and I practice along. And what is even more amazing is you are taught by Ifemena, the co-founder of Tenalytics. Over a decade experience as well, worked in Ireland, worked in the UK, currently works in Canada as well, worked for companies in the US, extensive experience. And that's the person teaching you how to get into data analytics. So you watch your videos, you practice along, and this is what your self-paced class looks like. You have access to assessments, to quizzes, to test your knowledge of what you've watched, what you've tried. So this is the self-paced platform. I can come down here. I want to watch Introduction to SQL. I can start that, watch it at my own convenience, any day, anytime. Okay. So once I've done this, I have access to a live class. And this is the platform for the live class. Okay. So I go to the live class. This is an Excel live class. I have one of the first things you would see here is the details to log into the class. Okay, the login details to the class. You join the class, you have access to the class material. Now, the reason why that gentleman, Pavel, was able to move from education as a teacher to a healthcare data analyst is because of this. Your classes are project based, which means that you work on projects solving real world problems. So problems I have solved as a data analyst for over the last decade, we couch all those problems into case studies and you work on those case studies. So this is a case study for a medical organization in healthcare, St. Luke's Hospital. You look at the business introduction. What's this particular company, hospital all about? The problem statements. They have operational inefficiencies. They are booking when a customer or a patient tries to book an appointment, the appointment schedule is just too long and so on. So you help them solve the problem. You have the rationale, the aim of the project, and of course, you have the data description. So you work on these type of projects, and these are the projects you complete and you add to your portfolio. Okay, so this was one of the projects that Pavel was able to work on, multiple healthcare related projects. So when he got into that interview, speaking to the interviewers, he could speak from a point of knowledge and experience because he had done it before. All right. And that's how you get the experience you need to do the job. Okay. So that's what the class material looks like. And then you have your class recording. So it's a live class, but every live class is recorded, just like this session we're having now is recorded. So if for any reason you missed that class, you can always come back, watch the recording, see what happened in class on that day, all the questions that were asked, how was the problem solved, and so on and so forth. Okay. So you work together with your facilitator and you solve that problem together. You can stop and ask questions. You can share your screen. This is what I'm doing. I didn't quite get it right. What am I doing wrong? And so on. All right. And that's what the live session looks like. Now, this is the best way for you to learn. Not just learn by watching videos, but learning by also working with professionals. You can ask questions and they can direct you on exactly what to do. Okay. Now, once you've learned both in class and also on the LMS, the learning management system, where you have access to your self-paced content. You must then build a profile that attracts organizations. So you have experience in any other area. Maybe you've worked in logistics, or you are a teacher, or you're a carer, you're a support worker. Okay. Now you want to build a profile and you want to transition from support work to a data analyst. You must build that profile that shows a data analyst profile, not a support worker profile anymore. So how do you build that profile? For so many people, they go about it the wrong way. And what's the wrong way? We focus too much on certificates. Okay. We focus too much on credentials. I need to write this exam. I need to get this certification, but it doesn't help anyone. Employers want two things from you. They want your skills and they want your experience. They want to know that you have the skills to do the job, which you're going to learn in the class, like I showed you. You'd learn in class, you'd have access to the LMS, you watch videos and all of that, you practice. But you must also gain experience. Show them that I'm not just going to do this for you. I have done it before and I have evidence that I can do it for you. So how do you build this experience? I'm going to show you how to do that right now. Okay. So one thing we say at Analytics is the combination of these two is called your competence. Okay. Employers want you for your competence, your skills, and your experience. So always remember it is competence over credentials. Okay. Competence over credentials. You've been programmed, you've been made to think that the more certificates I have, the more jobs I get, but that's a fallacy. It doesn't work. Okay. The more you can show your competence, the more opportunities you get. And that's why you see so many people thriving get a wedding dress and a suit. Okay. You want a wedding dress, you want a suit. And you're considering two tailors. You have a tailor A and you have a tailor B. Tailor A has a certificate of tailoring school. They've gone to tailoring school. They have the best, they had distinctions in tailoring school, and they're very good because they have a certificate. It's pasted somewhere at the back of their store. And then you have a tailor B. Tailor B has a showroom. You can walk into Tailor B's showroom. You can see the suits. You can see the dresses they have, sewn. You can see the materials. You can touch, feel, see the quality of the finishing, and so on and so forth. Out of these two tailors, who would you trust to make your suit and your wedding dress? A or B? Just type into the chat. Let's see where you stand. Tailor A or Tailor B, the person who has a certificate at the back of their store, or the person who has evidence. They have mannequins. The mannequins have the dresses, they have the suit. You can touch, feel, see the quality, and so on. B, B, B. Everybody says B. Absolutely. Everybody would choose B. But a lot of people position themselves as Tailor A. They position themselves as Tailor A. I must get a certificate to show that I can do the job. A certificate only shows that you passed an exam. It doesn't show that you can do the job. It doesn't even show that you have the skills to do the job. And Hope was on that same boat. Hope had the same mentality a lot of people have. Oh, I must have a certificate, and so on. So Hope had so many certifications, project management, Scrum Master certifications. Then she moved to Canada and she couldn't land a job in Canada. She stayed for a long time, couldn't land a job, and she was worried. What am I doing wrong? Okay. I have all the certifications I think would get me a job, but I can't land a job. What am I doing wrong? So she joined our Agile Project Management program in September 2024. And by December, she had landed a job as a project analyst with Visman in Waterloo, Ontario. Now, why was Hope able to get that job? She was able to get the job because we changed her perspective from focusing on her certifications, but rather than focusing on certifications, to focus on the projects that would show employers, building a portfolio to show that she has done this job before and she can do the job for them. All right. And that was how Hope was able to break that mold and she landed that job in December 2024. So we're going to go to Hope's profile very quickly. So you'd see Hope Atogi, fantastic, phenomenal lady. You'd see Agile Project Manager with Tenalytics. Okay, you'd see that right there. And you'd see Project Analyst with Visman, Waterloo, Ontario. She got this job in December, just, after working with us as an Agile Project Manager. I want us to listen to Hope very quickly. Okay, it's a six-figure job. Absolutely phenomenal. Anybody in Canada knows how important it is to land the six-figure job. Okay, so just like you all selected Taylor B because Taylor B has evidence that he can do the job, Hope focused, she positioned herself as Taylor A, and she got no opportunities until she started changing that to Taylor B, built a portfolio, showcased what she could do, what she had done before, and that was where Hope got the opportunity to land this job. But let's listen to Hope. Let's hear from her, and let's see how she was able to make this transition from her own in her own words. Okay.
To get started in data analytics,
Sorry, I'm going to use my other browser. So that's, yeah. So let's go back, click on the link, and let's hear from Hope.
It helped me land my first project management job in Canada, and I'm really grateful for it. Of course, it's a six-figure job, and I appreciate the fact that they had a great impact in me landing that job. Hello, my name is Hope Atogi. I am an alumni of Tenalytics. I joined the 2024 September cohort class for Agile Project Management. Prior to joining this cohort, I had a certificate in project management, and I had written the PMP, and I'd also written the Scrum Master certification, which I passed both, but I still needed to land a project management role in Canada. Prior to when I moved to Canada, I had an experience with managing projects and handling agile projects in Nigeria. But moving to Canada, I hadn't gathered enough experience in the project space, so I needed to break into that space. Tenalytics was recommended to me, and I tried it. I had a focus of what I wanted, and they helped me achieve that. I joined the class, it was very interactive, it was very educative. I increased what I knew prior to joining the class, and I learned new things as well. I would definitely recommend Tenalytics to anyone who is looking to break into a new field or change career path. I think Tenalytics is where you register with them. They would help you with your post-registration, ongoing classes, getting a job, interview processes and all that. While on the project, while in the class, I applied a couple of jobs, and Analytics helped me with my interview preparation, giving me tips, organizing mock interview sessions as well, and it helped me land my first project management job in Canada, and I'm really grateful for it. Of course, it's a six-figure job, and I appreciate the fact that they had a great impact in me landing that job. I will recommend Tenalytics to anyone who is looking to change career path, and they would help you through the process before, during, and even after you land a job. They're willing to help you answer questions, guide you through, help you settle in your new role as well. Thank you very much, Tenalytics. I really appreciate your help in my career growth, and I hope that anyone who is looking to make an impact in their careers or change career path are looking to work with Tenalytics, because they're one educational agency I would recommend to anyone. Thank you very much, Tenalytics.
Okay, so that's Hope. And just like every single one of you said, Taylor B would be the right person to follow simply because Taylor B has evidence. We helped Hope showcase her evidence, different evidences that she could do the job through a portfolio. And eventually, we prepared her for our interviews. We worked with her and she landed that job. And this takes us to how you position yourself. Okay. How do you build a portfolio? What's a portfolio? What does it look like? Just like that Taylor B, who has a showroom, your portfolio is also your showroom. Okay. And any employer should be able to walk into your showroom and see the projects you've completed, see the work you've done, even before they get to discuss or have a conversation with you. Okay. So I'm going to show you what, portfolios look like very quickly. Let's go to Victoria's portfolio. Victoria is a data analyst. And if I click on this link, it takes me to Victoria's portfolio. Okay, don't forget, for you to get all these links, all you have to do is fill the attendance. Make sure you do that so you have access to all the links I'll be sharing with you today. Okay, now one of the first projects you'd see on Victoria's portfolio is the Deep Care Hospital ER visit analysis, where she helped that hospital optimize their systems, their processes, and so on. So I can read about the project where she helped reduce the patient's wait time by 15% and increase the patient's satisfaction rating by 20%. And how did she do it? I can click on this link. It takes me to her dashboard. Okay. She built this using Tableau, and anybody can click on this link and see what Victoria has completed. I can interact with it. It is dynamic. If I want to see the data for only Q1, I can deselect everything and it responds. I can click on Q1 and I can see data for only Q1. All right. And any employer that comes to this portfolio, clicks on this project, interacts with the project, would see that whoever built this knows how to use Tableau as a data analyst. And if I am hiring for a data analyst that knows how to use Tableau, then I would consider Victoria. Okay, so you see what, the dashboard is, the number of ER patients, the number of patients per department, and so on and so forth. I can also add Q2. So I'd see Q1 and Q2. Everything gets updated and so on. So you'd see the different projects. And this same hospital project is the same thing you complete in class. Okay, remember this project in class. Once you complete the project, St. Luke's Hospital completes the project, then you upload to your portfolio. And you have so many other projects. The Redux Airline, an aviation related project, logistics project, express food delivery using Tableau, Nestle product analytics using Power BI, and so on and so forth. And this is what a portfolio looks like. All right. You'd have the opportunity to click on other links, see what the portfolios look like for the business analyst, for the data scientist, and so on and so forth. We work on your CV, your LinkedIn, show you where to apply, how to book interview prep sessions. So in your classroom, all you have to do is go to your classroom, usually just scroll right to the top of your classroom. And one of the first things you'd see is where to upload your CV. Upload your CV right here. We revamp the CV for you. You have an industry standard CV, and then we show you how to tailor your CV. I'll teach you how to tailor your CV. All you have to do, click on this link, and you'd see the video on how to tailor your CV. Okay. Okay, so let me just refresh this. I think because of the bandwidth, I might have to download. All right, so I'll just download and I'll play it for you to have a look at it. Okay, just give me 1 second. All right, so I'll log in in a different browser, and then we'll see how we can. Let me change this to there is a. All right, so it's quite large, and that's why it's not opening directly. Okay, so I'm just going to download this and I'll show you exactly how the video on how to tailor your CV looks like. All right, so you watch the video, how to tailor your CV, and eventually you understand clearly what to do. All right, you'd also see the job sites and the different roles you can apply to as a data analyst. And of course, you'd also have access to the job offers. Where do you apply? How do you apply? So we scrape the different jobs for you across different platforms, and we drop these jobs in your classroom. All you have to do is come in here every single week, and all you have to do is click and you'll see the jobs you can apply to. Those that come with sponsorship, you'll see that right there. Does it come with sponsorship? Yes, yes, yes. So we vetted these jobs and we know that these are the type of jobs that you can get. Okay. So you click on all these links, you see the jobs we posted last week, the ones we posted this week. Every Sundays, we post jobs for you right here for you to apply to. All right. And these are jobs that are from paid job boards that other people don't have access to these type of jobs. All right. So you'd see all of that. And this is where you start to apply to jobs that gives you opportunities that others would not get. Okay. Then you have an interview. All you have to do is come to your dashboard, click on your dashboard, and you'd see how to schedule your interview appointment. Click on schedule appointment, fill all the details, select your program, the link to the job you've applied to, the interview stage, first level, HR conversation, second level, select all the details. What dates do you want to be prepared for your interview? Select that, upload the CV you've used to apply, and then you book your interview prep. And somebody would jump on a call, just like Hope said, help you with your interview prep. Somebody jumps on a call, works with you to ensure that you are prepared for that interview. And of course, you have your mentorship sessions. Every single Thursdays, you join a mentorship session, how to succeed as a tech professional. I took this session last week, Thursday, for example, showing professionals what exactly they need to do in order to transition as a tech professional, LinkedIn optimization, how to build resilience in the job application process. We have interview simulation sessions as well. How to search for jobs. Okay, so this is a live session on where the platforms to leverage and so on and so forth. And these are live sessions. And if you miss any session, all you have to do is come in here, click on any of the links, and you have access to the recording. Okay. So a day in the life of a data analyst, importance of building in public, and these are your mentorship sessions. All right. You have your job reference, on the job support, and of course, last but not the least, Upwork optimization. Okay. So that's what you need to do to package yourself. It goes beyond just learning the technical skills. Do you have the right CV? Do you know what to say during interviews, and so on and so forth? And of course, when applying to jobs, after showing you where to apply, how to tailor your CV, you know you never use one CV to apply to two jobs or multiple jobs. You use one CV to apply to one job. So once you know how to do that, you know the number of jobs to apply to, you tap into the paid and the hidden job market, just like I've shared with you, then you start getting opportunities that your counterparts don't have access to. So what's the lesson? What's the plan? What's the timeline like? How do you learn with us during any of the programs you've decided to join? It's a 6 months learning journey. Irrespective of the program you join, you learn for 6 months and then you have your 2 months internship. So you have an 8-month learning journey. So this is not your get a job as a data analyst in 6 weeks or become a cybersecurity expert in 2 weeks. No, this is 8 months of immersive, intensive program to get you all the technical skills. And you have your internship with our sister company, Amdari, operating out of London in the UK and also Alberta in Canada. So you have that experience required. So when anybody says you have UK experience, do you have Canada experience, you can showcase this on your CV and also on your LinkedIn. Just like you saw when I went to different profiles, one of the first things you'd see is the role they worked while they were with Analytics, data analyst consultant, business analyst, and so on and so forth. All right. And your classes typically would happen on Saturdays, your live classes. And it doesn't matter where you're joining from. You're joining from the UK, you're joining from the US, you have your live sessions. If you're joining from the UK, for example, or you're joining from Africa, somewhere in Nigeria, West Africa, or Europe, similar time zones, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m., you have your class. And of course, if you're from the US, also joining, you have a class tailored to your time zone. Or North America, the US, Canada, you have 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Mountain Time. All right. And every other day, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, you join the LMS, the Learning Management System, and you watch your videos at your own convenience. All right. So if you've had a great time so far, just type in a yes into the chat. The next thing I'll show you is how do you start your journey? What do you need to do? But if you've learned something new today, just type in a yes into the chat, and then we're going to have a Q&A before we wrap up. Okay, Adania says, Sylvester says, yes, absolutely fantastic, phenomenal. So it doesn't matter where you are. And the beauty about the learning plan is you could be in the UK, for example, and you're not available in the morning from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m., but you can join the class for those in the US or Canada, which would be roughly 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. your time. So it's in the morning in the US, but it's evening your time. So if you're not free in the morning in the UK or in Nigeria or in Ghana, depending on where you're joining from, you can join the classes for those in North America eventually. So the skills you need to have to join any of the programs, which is very important because so many people think I can be a business analyst. Okay, I can be a BA without understanding how to use Excel or SQL. So the key skills you need to transition into any of the career path are also important for you to understand, because that will ensure that you learn the right skills to get into those career paths. I've had conversations with so many business analysts, and I ask them the very first question: can you use SQL as a business analyst, SQL? And they say no. If you don't know how to use SQL in 2025 as a business analyst, for example, you would struggle to land a job. So as a business analyst, some of the key technologies you need to learn. First of all, your data skills. Excel, Power BI, and SQL. These are your data skills. You have to learn this. And this is what gives you the opportunity not just to get a job as a business analyst, but you can also work as a business data analyst because you have knowledge of Excel, Power BI, and SQL. Then you move into the core BA skills, process mapping using tools like Draw.io, Lucidchart. You'd learn project initiation planning, Agile and Scrum for projects, software development cycle, and you'd learn how to use tools like Trello to track your team members' tasks and responsibilities, Jira to track projects, deliverables, and ensure that all projects are right on track. You'd learn how to use Confluence to collaborate on projects, Azure DevOps to ensure that the agile methodology is delivered on every single project. You'd learn requirement fundamentals, elicitation, asking the right questions to get the right information you need to complete that particular project. You learn stakeholder analysis and engagement, and of course, ChatGPT for the business analyst, which is very important. Transitioning into a business analyst today, you need to complement the skills you have with prompt engineering using tools and technologies like ChatGPT. As an agile project manager, you'd learn introduction to project management skills and communication, foundations of agile and Scrum. Okay, because agile is not your conventional project management, it's another methodology outside waterfall. So project management cuts across waterfall. You have the waterfall methodology, you have agile, and you have a hybrid called Wagile, the combination of waterfall and agile. Now, waterfall is traditional, okay? The traditional project management for construction, working on, projects within the office and so on. The traditional project management. Agile, on the other hand, is where you work on IT related projects. So when you see that mobile app, the Lloyds Bank mobile app, Scotiabank mobile app, and every different products, applications you use today, they were built, managed by an IT project manager, an agile project manager. So these are project managers working on IT related projects in the tech ecosystem. All right. And that's where you'll find the job today. The jobs are in the tech ecosystem. And that's why you don't want to get just into the traditional project management. You want to go into agile project management. And of course, you'd learn how to use the Scrum framework, which is one of the frameworks under Agile, Scrum artifacts, increments, sprint, the product backlog, advanced Scrum and Agile practices. You'd learn how to use Jira and Confluence on projects, the Kanban boards for workflow management. You'd learn how to use the velocity charts, the burn up, the burn down charts for agile metrics and reporting, the Nexus Scaled Scrum, and we also help you prepare for the professional Scrum Master examination. And of course, just like the business analyst, you'd learn Confluence to collaborate on projects, Jira to track deliverables on projects, Trello to track your team members' tasks on projects as well. And that takes us to the business analyst, the agile project manager learning timeline, 8 months, 6 months in class, 2 months internship. Now, your internship is virtual. It's a virtual-based internship where you work with other professionals joining from similar regions. So you have 3 to 4 on a project team. You work together to solve a common goal. And that's simply because in the real world of work, you don't work alone. You don't work in silos. You work in a cross-functional team to ensure that you solve the same problem. You learn different interpersonal skills and so on while doing that. And of course, as a data engineer, a data scientist, a data analyst, we start with a data engineer. The data engineer earns absolutely phenomenal salaries, and you have that right at the top across the 3 major economies. If you're in the US, for example, 6 figures, $134,000 US dollars. If you're in Canada, 6 figures, $102,000. If you're in the UK, about 65,000 pounds, which is quite high. Looking at, the average salary in the UK, for example. Now, as a data engineer, what do you need to land a job in data engineering? Introduction to data engineering, understanding what it's all about. The data engineers are responsible for ensuring that data is available. Okay, before you can analyze data, create that dashboard, extract insights, the data must be available, right? So the data engineers are responsible for providing that data, making the data available in a central location called the data warehouse. The data is stored in that location, and anybody who needs access, like the data analysts, the data engineers, the data scientists, I beg your pardon, the business analysts can go into this data warehouse and extract the data that they need. Okay. So that's what the data engineer would do in any organization. They build the data infrastructure to ensure that the data is available for other stakeholders to use. So you learn Introduction to Data Engineering, SQL, Structured Query Language, which is a language you would use as a data engineer to build that data warehouse, the databases where the data would be stored for easy access. You'd learn Python programming to build your ETL pipelines. So let's assume the data is stored somewhere on a website, you have data generated in an ATM. So let's say this is a bank. Transactions happen across different sources in the bank. You have the web applications, you have the ATMs, you have the POSs, you have your mobile app. Whenever a transaction happens, using the web app, for example, the data is stored somewhere in a database. In the ATM, the data is stored somewhere in a database. It's the responsibility of the data engineer to create pipelines to move that data into a central location called a data warehouse, so we can get that data to analyze when we want to carry out analysis. To build these pipelines you see here, you build them using Python. And that's why as a data engineer, you'd learn Python to build your ETL pipelines, your extract, transform, and load pipelines to extract data from the different databases, the different data sources, transform the data, ensuring the data is in the right shape, the right form, and loading the data into the data warehouse for easy access. You'd learn how to use Linux for your bash scripting. You'd learn how to get data from different sources, from the web, from databases, from APIs, and so on. You'd learn how to use Apache Spark and Airflow to automate the process of getting your data, transforming that data, and loading the data. So you don't have to do it manually. When you're not there, data still moves from wherever I should move from and move to wherever I should move to. Okay. You'd learn cloud engineering using Google Cloud Platform, GCP, and Microsoft Azure. Version control with GitHub. And you'd learn AI for data engineering using GitHub Copilot and Chat GPT. All right. Then you move to the data scientist. As a data scientist in the US, six figures, 121,000 US dollars on the average per annum. In Canada, about 94,000 Canadian dollars, 55,000 pounds per annum in the UK. As a data scientist, remember, the data engineer has provided the data in the data warehouse. You can then come in here, get your data, and start analyzing, building your machine learning models, and so on and so forth. But for you to do that, the data engineer must have done their job providing that data for you. So that's why the data engineers are very important in any organization. All right. So as a data engineer, as a data scientist, you learn statistics, you'd learn Excel for predictive analytics and forecasting. You'd learn Tableau for data analytics, SQL, structured query language, just like the data engineer as well. So you need to also understand the language, SQL, structured query language, so you can extract data from that data warehouse that the data engineer has built. You'd learn Python for exploratory data analysis, Python for machine learning, computer vision, and you'd learn version control with GitHub, ChatGPT and GitHub Copilot, and of course, Microsoft Fabric as a data scientist. And the data analysts in the US, about 86,000 US dollars per annum, 71,000 Canadian dollars, and about 45,000 pounds on the average in the UK. And as a data analyst, what do you learn? Problem solving, Microsoft Excel, SQL as well, just like the data scientist and the data engineer, because SQL is the language you use to extract data from that data warehouse, the databases in the data warehouse. You'd learn Power BI and Tableau for business intelligence, data visualization. You'd learn data storytelling, ChatGPT for analytics, and Microsoft Fabric for analytics. And of course, similar timeline, 6 months in class, 2 months internship. And it doesn't matter where you're joining from. You have a class that fits your schedule, that fits your time zone. If you're in the UK, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. On Saturdays, you have your live classes. And if you're in the US or Canada, North America, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. All right. Then you have the financial analyst and the HR analyst. The financial analyst and the HR analyst are also data analysts. The only difference is the financial analyst is a data analyst that focuses on financial data. So a typical data analyst, just like Pavel, who was a teacher who became a healthcare data analyst, he worked on healthcare data. He could work on customer data, research data, and different types of data sets. However, the financial analyst would focus on the financial records, helping to identify the financial health, assess the financial health of the company, looking at different profitability metrics, return on equity, return on investment. The financial analyst would identify areas for cost optimization. Where can we optimize costs? The financial analyst would ensure that they carry out something called scenario and sensitivity analysis. So if inflation rate goes up, how does it affect our industry, and how does it affect our company and profitability within the company? How does it affect our budget and our ability to meet our targets for the year? Those are the type of different analysis the financial analyst would focus on using the financial records in that company. They build financial models, best case scenario, worst case scenario, base case scenarios, to see if the company should go into a particular venture or not. All right. So you learn your key data skill, problem solving, Excel, Power BI, SQL. These are your data skills. Then you learn the core financial areas: accounting fundamentals, financial analysis, financial modeling, valuation, sensitivity and scenario analysis, chat GPT for analytics as a financial analyst. On the other hand, as a HR analyst, you are also a data analyst, but this time around, you focus on HR or people data. So how do you drive policies within the organization using people data? For example, how can we improve our revenue, organizational growth, by hiring the right talent? So you want to look at your talent sourcing pipeline. Where do you get your best performing employees? From your websites, from recruitment consultants, or do you get them from LinkedIn? Okay, so the HR analyst would extract data from different sources and analyze to find which particular talent pipeline gives us the best performing employees. Can we double down on that to get more high performing employees from those different channels? The HR analyst would ensure that they can also identify how does absenteeism affect productivity. They carry out those type of analysis. So the focus for them is on ensuring that they can identify the strategies to deploy based on the analysis of the people data within that company. So they learn the core data skills, problem solving, Excel, Power BI, and SQL. And then they get into the core HR areas: HR analytics and performance evaluation, HR metrics and life cycle, HR analysis and dashboarding, collaboration and report automation, building your case and creating action, and of course, ChatGPT AI for the HR analyst. The timeline similar to the other programs: 6 months learning, 2 months internship. And then we come to cybersecurity. The last but not the least, as a cybersecurity professional working with us at Tenalytics, you focus on 3 key specializations: GRC, governance, risk and compliance analyst. Okay. The second specialization is SOC analyst, the security operations center analyst. And last but not the least, ethical hacking. You can call them your penetration testers. All right. So you find yourself in one of these 3 career paths. For the governance, risk, and compliance analyst, for example, your focus in any organization is to ensure that you establish cybersecurity policies and procedures that align with the organizational and regulatory requirements. Okay, so you are going to implement industry standards. You'd maintain compliance records within the organization. You'd help to build the governance framework within the organization. For example, if a new employee joins that company, who gives them access to certain assets like the data warehouse, the databases, Who has access to that? Who gives them access? And how do they go about the process to getting access to databases, data warehouses? So you would come up with that framework. Okay, so any new employee would have to request for access from their team lead. The team lead would send it to the custodian of that particular data warehouse. Maybe the custodian is the IT department, the head of IT, the CIO, and the CIO would approve. And then that person gets access. Who comes up with that framework to ensure that there is compliance, industry standards are maintained, like the GDPR, for example? How do you maintain such quality compliance records? That's the GRC, governance, risk, and compliance. The SOC analyst, on the other hand, Security Operations Center analyst, focuses on the control room, watching the network, watching the systems for threats. So they monitor the systems, they monitor the network to identify suspicious activities. Is somebody trying to hack a particular network? So if there's a spike, to show that somebody is trying and testing several passwords to get into a system or get into the network, you as a SOC analyst would block it to stop that from happening. Ensure that you investigate those different alerts to identify, is it a brute force attack? Is somebody trying to break in or not? And you eventually would learn from each case to stop any future, occurrence of that similar attack. Okay, so the SOC analyst ensures that they monitor to check for alerts. Is something spiking or not? Is somebody trying to break into the system or not? And so on and so forth. So that's your role as a SOC analyst. You are simply monitoring the network, monitoring the system to identify suspicious activities. Okay, and then you have ethical hacking. As an ethical hacker or as a penetration tester, you would try to break into systems, break into the network within the organization to identify vulnerabilities. Where are the vulnerabilities within the system? Okay, and when you identify where there is a chance of somebody, an external party, breaking into that same system because you've tried to break into it, you provide mitigating strategies to ensure that nobody else can break into those systems and network. And that's simply what you do as a penetration tester. So you try to hack the system before somebody else tries to do the same. So these are the three core specializations, and you focus on each specialization when you get into your internship. So you learn all the key areas to enable you perform effectively in any of those three specializations. And eventually you choose one of the three, and that will be the focus area for you during your internship. So you learn the overview of the different roles and technologies, information security principles, the SOC roles and responsibilities, threat detection and response. You learn malware analysis, threat actor profiling, vulnerability scanning, network reconnaissance, governance and compliance frameworks, exploitation techniques, security awareness reporting, compliance audits, and policy development. And of course, as a cybersecurity professional in the US, six figures, 105 US dollars. In Canada, $140,000. And that's simply because of the high demand for cybersecurity professionals. In the UK, an average of about £57,000. Again, 6 months learning, 2 months internship. All right. So what I'm going to show you now is how to start, how to get in. What do you need to get into any of the programs? And then we take questions and we call it a day. All right. So there are so many other professionals, so many other success stories. This is Tony. Tony used to be a pharmacist back in Nigeria. She joined the data analytics program. Today, she's a benefits analyst with the NHS, also on sponsorship. You have Lois, who was an accountant and procurement professional. Today, she's a project manager after completing our program. You have Oluwadamilare, no experience in tech, joined our data analytics program. He's a sustainability data analyst. You have Amaka. Amaka was out of work for over 6 months in Canada. She lives in Saskatchewan, couldn't land a job. She joined us, completed her HR analytics program in December 2024. She got multiple interviews. We prepared her for our interviews. She applied to one of the jobs we had posted on the job board. She applied, and this is Amaka saying that I'm overwhelmed, but with good news. I have 3 job interviews. Most importantly, I have an interview with Sask Energy for a HR data analyst role, one of the jobs you posted. So she sent this message to our class coordinator, Priscilla, telling Priscilla that she applied to one of the jobs we posted and she has an interview. We prepared her, worked with her, and this is where she sent the message, I got the job. Okay. The link to listen to Amaka is also there. Absolutely phenomenal lady. Got that job in Saskatchewan with Sask Energy as a HR data analyst in February this year, 2025. Okay, you have Sonia, who works as a HR analyst in the UK with British American Tobacco after completing our HR analytics program. Idris, data engineer working with Jaguar Land Rover, currently works with QuantSpark in London in the UK, also after completing our data engineering program, and so many other professionals. I'm not going to bore you with all the different success stories. You'd have access to the slides. You have Adetayo, who got a job in cybersecurity, just about 60 to 70% completion of his cybersecurity program. You have Gad, who got a job this year, 2025, with the NHS full visa sponsorship as a data warehouse and ETL developer. Okay, after completing the data engineering program. All right. And that's Gad right here. Gad got this job in January, landed the job with the NHS. He wanted sponsorship, and that was what he got eventually. Okay, so started this job in January 2025, 6 months into the role with the NHS after completing his data engineering program with us. All right, his salary is absolutely phenomenal as a data engineer. And you have Fikayo, who joined our data science program. And today, Fikayo is a business intelligence analyst. She joined us in July last year, and she got a job before she even completed her training. She joined our data science program, and Fikayo had a background in finance and accounting. So no tech knowledge, no tech background, finance and accounting. We had an interview with Fikayo. It would be amazing to listen to what Fikayo has to say. We prepared her for our interviews, and eventually Fikayo landed that job as a business intelligence analyst in Canada. So how can you start today? That's the question. So we have a new cohort starting on the 5th of July, and this is the best time for you to get started, to get into the program. And we have an amazing discount for everyone who wants to join from this particular session. All right. So if you want to join any of our any of our programs, from the business analyst program to HR analytics to data science, any of the 8 key areas, rather than paying the $900, which is the full amount, you have a 20% discount to pay just $750. And you also have the opportunity to break that into 5 installments, okay, of $150 every month for 5 months to get the 20% off. And this makes it a whole lot flexible and easier for you to get into any of the programs. So you don't have to pay the full amount to join. All you have to do is make the payment of $150, get into the program, and then you make your subsequent payments for the next 5 months to complete the discounted fee of $750 US. And I'll show you how to get started, and then we'll take questions before we call it a day. So all you have to do is, and this discount is available for the first 20 people, okay, to register from the session today. So the first 20 people to register from the session, and also you have access to a free CV revamp. Okay, you get the 20% discount. Rather than paying 900, you get to pay just 750. And also, you get a free CV revamp from us for the first 20 people to register. And this is open for 48 hours, closes on Monday, the 23rd of June. So how do I start at Days if I'm ready to get started? What do I need to do? So all you need to do is simply click on this link right here. My colleagues would also share the link. So you click on that link and it takes you into the enrollment center. Okay. And I'm going to show you what the enrollment center looks like very quickly. Okay. So let me see, Elijah, if you are still on the call, just check the main stack link. All right. Okay, so it's up. I was getting errors earlier. So you get to the enrollment center. All you have to do, come right here, go to any of the programs you're interested in: Agile project management, business analysis, data analytics, cybersecurity, and just click on register. All right. Now, once you click on register, it takes you into where you can go ahead and make payments for that particular program. Okay. And I'm going to show you how this works. All right. So you can select any currency. It doesn't matter where you are. Okay. You want to make payments in pounds, payments in US dollars. You can do that by simply clicking on this, selecting your preferred currency. So you want to make payments in US dollars, for example. All right. If you're making a one-time payment, you get an additional $50 discount. So instead of paying $750, which is a discounted fee, you get to pay just $700. Same if you're making 2 monthly payments. All right. But if you're making payments in 5 months, you pay $150 per month until you complete the $750 discounted fee. Okay, you can make payments in Naira, in dollars, euros, Ghanaian cedi, South African rand, and so on. So we have 10 slots available. All right, we made this open earlier this week. 20 slots were available. We have just 10 slots available for data analytics. So if this is something you want to get into, take advantage of the discount. All right. If I want to pay in pounds, for example, I select that, select in pounds, make a payment of £123 per month for 5 months to complete my discounted fee to complete the program, £615. So all I need to do to get started is to make the first installment of 123. Click on secure your seats. You'd see the timeline. You make your first payment today. The next payment comes in July, the next in August, the next in September, and then you have the final in October, 5 monthly payments. Proceed. You enter your full name, enter your email, and you click on proceed. All right. You fill all the details, your credit card details, your debit card details, you make payments, and you get an automated redirection to completing the registration form. The link to the registration form also gets sent into your email just in case you can't complete it immediately at that time. All right. And the registration form looks like this. So once you get to the registration form, you have the opportunity to also book a free clarity session. So let's take, for example, you're not sure of the program to join. Okay. You have the recommendation after completing that quiz, but you think, it has recommended data analytics, but I'm interested in cybersecurity. All right. Secure your slots, make the first payment, selecting any of the programs. So let's say you selected data analytics, for example, or cybersecurity. You fill this form, click on next, fill all the details, type of payments, first installment or full payment. Select one, click on next. So you just fill all the details, terms and conditions, and all of that. You can reach out to the accounts team, accounts@tenalytics.io, if you have questions around payments or anything like that. Click on next. Okay. Next is pretty intuitive. All the details, your name, your last name, your email, and all of that. Click on next. Okay, you have details of any of my colleagues. You can reach out to any of them if you have questions. Enquiries at Analytics, admission at Analytics, accounts at Analytics. Click on next. When did you make payments? Fill all those details, upload a screenshot. What was your mode of payments? Click on next. You transfer the details on the account, and eventually you get right here. So if you're not entirely sure because you've seen cybersecurity, you're interested in business analysis, come here and select I need to speak to a professional. Okay. And one of our experts would jump on a call with you, walk you through, listen to your experience, ask you a few questions and listen to your feedback and direct you, guide you on the right career path to choose. So we don't choose for you, but we guide you to ensure you choose the right thing. And of course, if you're compelled and you know exactly what you want to do, you select the program you're interested in, say data engineering or data analytics, for example. All right. Click on next. You select when do you want to join your programs. I want to join the classes for the US, Canada. I'll select that. Click on next. Okay, when do you want to start? So we have two cohorts coming up. The first one comes up on July, the 5th of July, and you have another cohort on the 9th of August. So the beauty about this is you have commitments in July, for example. You can take advantage of the discount and start on the 9th of August. All you have to do is select 9th of August and then would arrange the cohort for you to ensure you start on the 9th of August. But if you want to start in July, on the 5th of July, you select this, fill the details, and then a week before the program starts, you will get a welcome kit. The welcome kit contains everything you need. The link for you to join, to gain access to your dashboard, the link for you to join your classroom, okay? The link for you to join your WhatsApp group. And also you can start installing all the tools and technologies because you have all those details available to you. All right. And that's how you get started. So take advantage of the discount before all the slots are gone. I'm going to take a breather at this point in time and I'll take questions and then we call it a day. All right. So let me see if we have questions I'll take from the chat first of all. But if you want to unmute and also speak, please feel free. You can raise your hand and I'll call you up to unmute. All right, so I'll start from the very last question. Will this program be available again? We've been in operation since 2020. August this year would make it 5 years. We've had cohorts every single month up until this moment. In 2025, for example, our first cohort was in January. We had another in February, March, April, May, June, and the one in July would start on the 5th of July. The only difference is that the discounts, the fees are not the same because we have a discount running now. You might join sometime later this year and the fees are different. You have to pay a little bit higher because the discounts are not available. So that's the advantage of you taking advantage of the discount essentially to ensure you get started. Okay. Somebody's asking, we had earlier been told that as part of the program that we are more working with analytics via internship. When are we allowed to capture this on our LinkedIn profile and CV? Fantastic question. So what we always advise you to do is after 3 months, okay, 3 to 4 months into the program, if you notice for those who got jobs, they got the jobs 3 months into the program, 1 month before they completed the program, and so on and so forth. They didn't have to wait until the end of the program to land a job. And that's simply because if you're in data analytics, for example, after 3 months to 4 months, you would have completed Excel, problem solving, Power BI, and SQL. And usually that's enough for you to start applying to jobs. So you don't need to complete the entire program for 8 months before you start applying. So it's at that point you get your CV revamped. You also have your LinkedIn optimized as well. So you start the application process about 3 to 4 months into the program. Okay. What if we don't have credit cards? There are so many ways you can make payments. You can pay with your debit card, if you have a debit card. Okay. And for those of you who perhaps you don't have a credit card, you don't have a debit card, you can also do a transfer, but for the transfer, you'd have to request for the account details. Okay. So for the person asking, all you have to do is send an email to finance@tenalytics.io. Finance@tenalytics.io. Okay. So just say, I don't have a credit or debit card. I want to do a transfer. I want to pay. If you're in Canada, for example, I want to pay through Interac. Okay. They'll send you an email. You can make payments through Interac. All right. So just send an email to finance@tenalytics.io. Okay. But with a debit card is a lot more straightforward for you. Okay. Let me take more questions. I'm expecting someone to get in touch as I have paid, was just confused and need some advice. So if you've made payments, Titi, you would have gotten a confirmation that your payment went through and so on. You get that payment success email immediately. You get the registration form to also complete. Once you've done that, if you haven't selected, I need to speak to a professional, then we don't schedule you for a clarity session. All right. So all you have to do, Titi, is wait until a week before the program. You get all your welcome kits and the details. And of course, you get started, on the 5th of July. Let me see. Okay, you selected I need to speak to a professional. Would schedule you for the clarity session, Titi. All right. Would schedule you for a clarity session. Somebody would get across to you. Depending on when you paid. If you paid today, the clarity session starts from, I think, tomorrow, Sunday, and then you have from Monday all through to Friday. All right. So we find out, first of all, the time that is suitable. You paid last week. Okay. You'll get that resolved, Titi. All right. My colleagues are on the call. They'll book you for that session and ensure that you get that sorted out this week. All right. Okay. You're welcome, Titi. Let me see if we have more questions. Did some students get jobs while being in Africa remote? Absolutely. Absolutely. So there are so many testimonials on my slide. I can't possibly show everything. So what I advise you to do as well is go to our YouTube page. Okay. Go to YouTube, search for Tenalytics. Okay. Go to YouTube, search for Tenalytics, go to the Tenalytics platform. Make sure you subscribe so you get all the videos, you get notifications whenever we upload any video. So you take, for example, we had a session yesterday, how I got a job, my post-Tenalytics career story. So we brought this amazing lady yesterday. She came to also, speak about how she was able to land a job and so on and so forth. Okay, so come right here. And what you want to do is go to playlists. All right. So when you come here, you'd see all the different videos we have over the last 4 years. So you can watch, this session was held last month, for example, automate employee productivity reports using Power BI and Office scripts. Okay. So if you want to test your hands on something for the very first time, you can also get access right here. But this is where you have your testimonials. Okay. So come right here. You'd see the Tenalytics alumni job success story. Click on that and you'd see all the testimonials, close to about 152 different videos. So the session yesterday, how I got a job, my post-Tenalytics career story, how I got a job. We brought in 2 amazing professionals. You have Zainab. Zainab works in Nigeria, got a job after she quit her banking job. She was tired of banking. She quit her banking job and joined us. And today she's a data analyst based in Nigeria. This is Judith, the amazing lady who was a carer, 10 years experience in HR. And today, she works as a business analyst working remotely. So there are so many amazing. This is Amaka, the lady from Saskatchewan who got a job as a HR data analyst. This is Pavel, the teacher who became a healthcare data analyst. You all listen to Hope. This is Hope, Adetayo, cybersecurity, and so many other people. Okay, I'm trying to look for somebody working remotely from Nigeria. I'm just going to have to scroll down. Probably I'll find them here and I'll show you someone working from Nigeria or two people working from Nigeria, working remotely, earning in dollars, earning in pounds, spending in Naira. There are quite a number of them. This gentleman, for example, Victor worked as a HR operations analyst with Hugo in the US. He worked from Lagos in Nigeria, worked remotely, earning in dollars and spending in Naira working for the company in the US. Let me see if we have any other person here I can show you very quickly. So you can come here, listen to all these amazing people, absolutely phenomenal, and you'd find exactly what you want. Okay, so this was where we participated in the Alberta Catalyzer Velocity Program. The moment we moved into the Canadian market, the North American market, to get closer to our North American audience. So we joined the Alberta Catalyzer Program too. It's a program that ensures startups and different companies provide innovative and transformative services to their customers. So the article is here. You can just come in here, click on that, see the amazing stuff we're doing within the space. Okay. So that's me right there. Okay. That's Efemina, the co-founder, and other startup founders across different provinces. So you read a little bit about what we do at Analytics and so on. All right. And of course, accredited by the American Council of Training and Development. To view the accreditation, you click on here, it takes you to the ACTD website, and you can read about our accreditation with the ACTD. All right, so I'll take more questions before we wrap up. Okay, Adania has two questions. Is the CV revamp free after registration? Number two, please, can I get the link to speak with a colleague as I fill the quiz? Okay, yes, absolutely. So Elijah would share that with you. All right. The CV revamp is free. Okay. It's free during the program after 3 months, but there are some people who want the revamp, done a little bit earlier for them. Okay. So we do this for you. You are one of the first 20 people. We do this for you earlier than the first 3 months. Like I answered the question earlier. How do I ensure that I complete my CV, my LinkedIn, and all those things? When during the program do I do that? And I mentioned you'd need to have completed 3 to 4 months of the program so that you have enough tools, enough skills at that time to add to your CV. But there are some people who immediately they join, they have experience, they want to start applying, earlier than before 3 months. So we provide that for you and give you access to that as well. Then all you have to do at Dania is take advantage of the discounts. When you're filling the form, you see the option, I need to speak to a professional. Select that and you have access. Okay. Okay, let me see if I have more questions. Is there a phone number to call in case of questions as regards registration after now? Absolutely. All right. So if you look at my slide, you'd see the first number, my colleague Shay. You can reach out to Shay on this number, 7480-481-985. If you're in the UK, you don't need a +44. Okay, you can speak to Lydia, +1. Ignore the second parenthesis. So +1 587-442-6952, or Shane +234-902-985-0839. Or you can send us a WhatsApp message on this number too, and my colleague Fumike would respond to you. Or when you get into the enrollment center, okay, you'd see an option to select chat with Tenalytics, and you chat with one of my colleagues. Or right from the website, you scroll all the way down to the bottom, all right, and you'd find how to get across to any of my colleagues right here. You can send us an email or you can call my colleagues using any of those numbers, all right? So that's how you get in touch with any of my team members. Is there a certificate? Yes, there is. We issue 2 certificates to you. The first one is to show that you've completed the program, and the second shows you've completed the internship. All right. So if I go on LinkedIn, for example, and I type Tenalytics certificates, so you'd see people who have posted their certificates to showcase that they've completed the program. All right. So let's see. So this is BOSA, for example. This is BOSA's certificate. Okay, so let's open that. BOSA completed the data engineering program. So that's his certificate right there. So this is BOSA posting. This certificate is yet another milestone in my continuous growth journey. Okay, so you'd see people post what they've done, posting their work, and so on and so forth. This is Oluwaseun, completed the business analysis program. That's his certificate right there. So that's what it looks like. This is Kufre Archibong, completed the data science program, and so on. All right. So you do get 2 certificates. The first one you get after completing your 6 months learning, completing your capstone project, and making a presentation on your capstone project. Then you move into the internship. And when you're done with the internship, you also get another certificate as well. The way their success stories, have there been unsuccessful ones? Absolutely. But there are more success stories than you have unsuccessful success stories. There's no unsuccessful success. That's not correct. So you have unsuccessful people that have not landed jobs as well, of course, but you have more success stories eventually. So what you tend to find is this settling. For some people, they land jobs a lot faster. Some get their first job a month, 2 months after the program. For some, 6 months after the program, they land a job. All right. So it's not really unsuccessful ones. It's more of the timeline. Okay. And this all has so many factors contributing to that. For example, how many jobs do you apply to? Okay. And apart from just the job application process itself, we show you different other strategies, unconventional job search strategies. And these are job search strategies that would enable you get access to jobs outside the application process. For example, we advise and we show you where to visit. If you're in Canada, for example, if you're in Alberta, for example, one of the places you want to visit, Edmonton Unlimited, Platform Calgary. These are innovation hubs. Okay. So if I type Platform Calgary in my browser, this takes me to an innovation hub, a tech accelerator, where I can simply visit, check any of the events they have, and attend a community event for free. And from these community events, you get to meet with startup founders. Okay, so there is one. Okay, this one happened, I think, sometime in May. So here you have access to free events, access to founders and co-founders that are looking to hire people like you. So you get into these events and you have the opportunity to network and eventually get the connection to land that job. And we've had people land jobs following this particular process. Okay. You have so many. In the UK, you have L39, level 39, level 39 or 49 in the UK. Level 49, I think is level 39 UK. Okay, so this is another amazing tech community in the UK, for example. So if you're in London, you want to go to level 39. All right, just simply look for their events. Okay, so we show you these type of strategies beyond just applying to jobs. How can I network? How can I leverage LinkedIn, reach out to recruiters who have put out job vacancies? And after applying, you want to show that you're the right person for the job. So you take an extra step, go the extra mile to reach out to that recruiter, send a message, create a 90-day plan for their major pain points. Okay, so these are things we show you how to do to ensure that you stand out from the crowd and you get your CV looked at, okay, from the pile of CVs from other applications. So this is L39, for example. You go to their events, you see what they have, select one of the events. They have one coming up on the 24th, the 26th. Most of them are free, okay? And you have access to people that are looking to hire you. So these are some of the things you stand to gain when you join any of our programs, okay? What if the class time does not suit my work schedule today? iPhone. Now, what happens simply is we have different strategies to ensure that even if you miss a class, you don't miss anything. All right. So we have something called the drop-in session. The drop-in session is designed to ensure that for those who missed the class on Saturday, during the week on a Wednesday in the evening from 9 p.m. to 10 p.m., if you are in the UK, for example, you'd have gotten back from work. Okay, so you can join a drop-in session and then you have access to your class facilitator to ask direct questions after watching the recording. So you have the recording to every live class. So if you miss the class, you watch the recording. If you have questions, you drop your questions in the WhatsApp group. Somebody would respond to that question. And if there's a need to set up a session to address any questions you have, that session is set up. But on a Wednesday, you have another drop-in session. So sometimes you have 5, 7 people joining because they missed the class the previous Saturday and you're brought up to speed during this drop-in session. So this cuts across all the program and is designed to ensure that you are not getting into the next class without understanding what was done in the previous class. Okay. So if after all of these, you still don't have time to align your schedule with the sessions on Saturday, you miss every Saturday class, then you're going to find it very difficult to get value from the program because you have to attend classes. You're going to work on group projects, individual projects, and to gain the skills you need to do the job, you have to immerse yourself into the program. Okay, so if you have to miss classes every other weekend, you might find it very challenging to catch up. Okay, so look at your schedule, ensure that it aligns with the program, and eventually you get into one of the programs. Do you provide transcripts? No, we don't, Lillian. And the reason why we don't provide transcripts is because this is not your conventional education in your university, okay, where you are learning skills and technology, where you are learning skills and they are more theoretical. So you're writing exams, you're writing tests, and you are measured based on your retention. How can I read, retain, and pour it back out? Okay, so that's typically the way your conventional educational system would run. So here you work on projects. And when you work on projects, no two projects can be exact if they are done by two different people. And it doesn't necessarily mean that if I take a different perspective to solve that project, does not mean it is wrong. If you take a different, look at it from a different perspective. So we look at individual projects that you've completed. We give you feedback on those projects. You make it better. And that's simply the way you learn. You learn by doing. So if Adeza builds a dashboard, I might build it a little bit differently from the way you would build yours. Use different colors, use my calculations differently from the way you would, but doesn't mean that what you have done is wrong. You've just used a different perspective to completing your own project. So that's the way you learn. You build projects, we look at those projects, we give you feedback, and those are the projects that go into your portfolio, okay? So it's not your conventional examination, and then you pass to have an A or a B, and so on. Okay. Can you answer my question? All right. Talk about the salary. I think I talked about that already, or maybe you want to be specific about the program, and then I can let you know what the average salary would look like for that program. How do I get the registration form after payment? It automatically redirects you to the registration form, and you also get that into your email. Okay. All right. I think those are all the questions we have. Eromosele, maybe you want to type in the question again so I can answer that question for you. Is there a discount for someone that has had self-led learning? Assume they are assessed by you and find that they've achieved your standards of learning and may need to do a few months, maybe CV revamp. So that might be another service for you, not this program, CM. Okay. So reach out to any of my colleagues. Somebody would respond to that. If all you need is just a CV revamp and all of that, there is a different service for that, which my colleagues would help you. Just send an email to enquiries@10analytics.io. Okay. And then would help you out with that. Okay. So typically, you want to go through the entire program to gain the skills you need to land the job. Most people, a lot of people that have gone through the self-learning process, what I've found from 95% of them, they have major gaps. And I'll give you a very good example, and then I end my session here. There was this gentleman who came the exact same way. And I'm not saying that you fall into that category, CM. I'm just simply using this to give you an example. So he came to us. He was so confident in his skills. He could use this Excel, Power BI, and all of that. And then we assessed him and we gave him one project to complete, a case study. He couldn't complete that, said it was too difficult. We gave him another one that was, that had, a difficulty level of, I would say, beginner, and we gave it to him, and he still couldn't complete the project on Excel. Okay. And he said, oh, I'm better using Power BI than Excel. And we gave him a Power BI project to complete, and he still couldn't complete it. So he had to end up registering for the program itself. Okay. So what we've seen is a lot of these self-learning programs, because like I mentioned earlier, I've been a part of it as well. The data sets are synthetic data sets. They're not real world based projects. Okay. So the skills required to do the job in the real world are usually different compared to when you work with synthetic data sets. All right. So I'm going to take a breather at this point. We're going to call it a day, and I would say take advantage of the discount for those interested in starting. We start on the 5th of July. We have another cohort starting on the 9th of August. Take advantage of the discount so you don't miss out on any of the discounts we have available. Follow us across all platforms on LinkedIn, on Instagram, X, and so on and so forth. And then I'll be looking to welcoming you, having an amazing time starting from the 5th of July. All right. Okay. Titi is asking, I think I just saw your question. In enrolling in data, okay, you enrolled for the data analyst program. In the future, can one gain a job as a business analyst? No. Okay. It's not that direct of an answer, but I'll tell you no. And the reason is this: as a data analyst transitioning to business analysis, you would need to learn certain skills. The data analyst would not know how to use Jira. The data analyst would not know how to use Draw.io, Lucid Charts, and those diagramming tools, Microsoft Visio. The data analyst would not know how to carry out stakeholder analysis and also stakeholder engagement. You will understand how to engage stakeholders at some point. You'll learn that on the job. But in terms of doing it the way the business analyst would do it, you'd need to have to learn those skills. So you can only transition after learning those core business analysis skills. Okay, you can't learn data analytics and simply get a job as a business analyst. I don't know if that makes sense, Titi, if that answers your question. So if you've done data analytics and you want to get a job as a business analyst, you'd have to pick up more skills before you start applying to those jobs. Okay. Let me see. All right. So once again, follow us across all platforms, and I'll be looking to working with you to helping you land and transition. Don't let anybody tell you that you are limited or you have a limitation based on your age. So many people have done it before, and you can also do the same. All right. If you've gotten value for your time today, about 2 hours, 30 minutes in today's session, type in a yes into the chat before we wrap up and call it a day. Fantastic, Desi. Thank you for giving us the opportunity, spending time with us on Saturday. Have an amazing weekend, and I look forward to having you getting your journey started on July 5th, 2025. All right. Cheers, everyone. Have an amazing time. And I look forward to working with all of you.